Hi everyone, Teddy Baldassarre here in our boutique in Cleveland, Ohio, joined by special guests. We have Thilo, Mühle. Good to see you again.
Thank you for inviting me, and yeah, it's a pleasure for me to be here.
Yes, last time we were together, visited you in Glashütte, now visiting us here, really do appreciate it. And the discussion today will be looking at some of your new novelties. So we had a discussion in the past. We went through a lot of the history of your brand, and if those not familiar, definitely should watch that video. But I think what I'd like to establish first is family-owned company. You're
Yes.
the fifth generation as well.
Fifth generation, yes.
And been around since the 1860s as well.
1869.
1869. And what I love about your brand is the core of this is really around instruments and utility and what you've been able to navigate through the years. So maybe before we look at the new watches on the table, let's talk about this transition from maybe these instrument maker, marine chronometers that was happening throughout the 20th century and even the 19th century, and then shifting into wristwatches towards the end of the 1990s. Yeah. How did that happen? And then we could talk a little bit more about the watches.
The fact is, my grandfather started in 1869 to produce a measurement instrument where you can measure 1,000th. That means 0.001 millimeter. And at this time, in 1870s, 1880s, you have to print also the scale for this accuracy. You know, you have to read this 1,000th from the scale, and all this mechanical. And we have some in our company, in our kind of small museum that you can see it. And this is really an instrument. And in the 1920s. We spend our power also next to the now to the instruments to speedometers and clocks for the car industry. You know Audi?
Yes, I do. I drive an Audi, yes, of course.
Cool. You know what the 4 rings mean?
I actually don't.
No,
please educate
it's not the Olympic rings because there are 5, but the 4 rings means 4 different brands. It was Auto Union, Horsch, Wanderer, and DKW, and they came together under the roof of Audi from the name. Means listen, Horsch. You know, like this. And for this, part of this, and also for the motorbikes, we produce speedometers, where we have also some in our museum to see. And my grandfather, Hans Mühle, started in 1945 again with the company. And until we are socialized, 1972, we produce instruments to measure the pressure. So that you see, all what we did in our past is to produce instruments, measurement instruments, speedometers, car clocks, and also this to measure the pressure. And my father was the director over there. He moved to the Glashütte watch company, GUB. And at the end of this session, my father was one of the directors after the reunification of this company. My father also developed ship clock systems. That means on a cruise ship, for example, you have a master clock at the bridge, and then you have secondary clocks over the public areas like this. And in 1996, we started with the production of wristwatches. Then you have to know that people combine Glashütte with watches, with mechanical watches. Mm-hmm. So we follow this rule. And as you know, as I mentioned also in Glashütte, to use the name of Glashütte, on your dial, there's a rule. You have to produce 50% on your movement by yourself.
Yes, and I think one thing about your brand is a lot of brands, they will oversell what they're doing with their movements. I think you all undersell what you're doing with your movements. So one thing, maybe as we go into the first watch, which watch would you like to talk about? But let's maybe talk about some of the proprietary elements that you're bringing forth. Woodpecker neck, and also just the fact that you are producing a lot of the plates and bridges in your manufacture. So where would you like to start? And let's talk a little bit more about that manufacturing prowess that you have and how you're able to uphold that in Glashütte.
Yeah. So the first thing what we developed was our woodpecker regulation. You mentioned the really advantage is that you have more or less a second shock resistant. You have the normal one, the Inca block shock resistant, and we fix the hand with the spring on the second position. Mm-hmm. So it's much more comfortable to wear when you are really active. And we want to, this is our goal, we will develop watches for people they like to wear the watch and not to be afraid, oh, I hit my arm and my accuracy is gone. So for this reason, we went ahead with the woodpecker regulation. It's a little bit funny, the name, but my father created because the last point on the spring looks like a woodpecker, you know. So for this reason, he created this name. And also we do our rotor by ourselves. We do decorations on the wheels, on the automatic bridge. On the chronographs, for example, we do the 3/4 blade by ourselves, the automatic bridge complete in-house movement or in-house produced. And for this reason, for our price range in the US, it's between $1,500 until $5,000 US. You get really great value for the money which you invest in Mühle. This is what you mentioned before.
Yes, and then in terms of like that standard of Glashütte, it's 50% of the value of the movements need to be produced.
And we are very honest because we tell our customers in our catalog and also in our webpage that we based the liter movements used because some of other brands, they don't do this, but for me and for my company, it's really important that we give this true information.
Yes.
But let me say, for the brands which are located in Glashütte and they use as a liter or ETA basic movement, we are at deepest in the movement inside because we change so a lot on the movement that also the liter told us for the chronograph, please use your own number because you change so much on the movement, so you cannot go ahead with our number. So that's for this reason we say it's our MU, for example, 9413. For example, the 94 is the founder year of my father, and 13 means, for example, when we developed this special part for this movement. So you can follow a little bit. Now we are 9419, so we have all these kind of steps. And which is new, what we did in the last year, we developed our own big date, where we have add in our Teutonia line as a limited edition. And this year we came out with a chronograph where we take off the minute counter and we put in our own developed power reserve. So this is the new way of Mühle, that we will add some specifications for our movements, and you can see the difference on the dial because they are complete another than the normal one what you can get when you use the basic movements.
Sure.
In the entrance level, I can show here two new colors which we introduced at the beginning of July. And Panova, for us, the entry level costs with the bracelet $1,599 US. With the leather strap is also available for $1,499. And Panova is to give the opportunity our customers also to go ahead with these colors. And for us, it's also a good point to change the colors if we are not successful, or you know the watch market also long than me, and you know sometimes colors come up and then they're falling down, and so you can take it off of the collection, and then there is a clean way in our collection.
Yeah, these are your more playful designs. We've seen more of this like sunburst type of finish with the dials. You have more of this lime green, I will call it.
Lime green, yes, and the violet one, and it's without date, so it's really clean. It's really, especially only the time. This is unusual for us, but in this line we follow this way to give a really clean design for the customer.
High legibility with both the markers, you have lume plots on the dial, which sometimes you'll incorporate other elements of color for the outside markers, where you can add that more of that splash. 100 meters of water resistance, all the features you were talking about with the woodpecker neck regulator. It's still available even within the entry point of the brand.
Each model, what you get from us is all this what I mentioned before.
Yeah, so I mean, that's where you can start to really see the value of this brand, just around that $1,500 price point to be getting into these watches.
I guess it's really a great price point for a watch which you can get from Glashütte, you know, with all the quality standard which we have in Glashütte.
Absolutely. I mean, for one of the, there's not many brands in Glashütte. You're on like 10 different brands in Glashütte. So in terms of the entry point of getting into Glashütte watchmaking, this is really right there.
Yes.
Absolutely. And then the other place that we can look, so you have the Panova line, more of this everyday style with a little bit more of some quirks and playfulness with colors. So you have purple and green there, which are new colorways, but also a new colorway here with the Terrasport, which was actually my first watch I ever handled of one of yours, yes. So I remember I was reviewing one, it was a Lufthansa edition. And I was like on the screens of the Lufthansa planes, and I was talking about, they had my review on there. It was a really cool experience, but it made me discover your brand for the first time. And this is more of your Flieger design type of take. And you have two different sizes, if I'm not mistaken. This would be the 40 millimeters
it's 40
here.
millimeter, right?
44 millimeters.
44.
Yes.
44 still only as a chronograph. And for the freehand watches, we have the 40 diameter. Yeah. And you are right, we had the deal with the Lufthansa, for example, in the in-flight magazine, and also for our normal collection, you can find the Terrasport over there.
Yes.
And it's a typical pilot style. There is no big changing on the design because pilot style is a pilot style, you know, and you have a little bit to follow also our rules. And with this model here, we go ahead to our old school a little bit because this dial, it's a copy of a design what we had in the beginning of maybe of the 2000s, you know. So we came back to this because I find out that the people like this style from this time. So we go ahead in the design department in my company with this blue color and a typical pilot style, you know. And this is also a nice entrance level where we speak about the same price range of the Panova, you know. So, but here we have an open back that you can see our nice movement, what we do. And of course we have a date.
Yes. So this is a special edition for this year.
Yes.
Blue dial, nice contrasting white markers,
Yep.
orientation triangle at 12, so you get that pilot watch DNA. And for an everyday wear with
Yep.
more versatility, I would say, than the Panova, if you want something more of that pilot styling, this is unbelievable value.
Of course,
Yes.
it is.
Now, where do we want to go next? So we have some...
Let us go with our leader model in our collection. You notice.
Oh, yes, of course. I'm wearing it right now. Let's talk about it.
So our SAR timer. We came out this year with the SAR timer with a blue dial and also with a blue rubber bezel. And when we introduced this in Munich to our biggest fair in Europe, people say, oh, this is really nice, this blue. I say, okay, it is only blue. And the black one we have since 23 years in our collection. It's also really successful. You're wearing it today. And so we are very happy about this. And I say, it's only blue. Yeah, but the blue is so nice. It's so maritime and nice. And I say, okay. So we are really successful. What we changed is we have instead the green illumination color, we have the white one. And it makes a little bit fresher to the black version. And you have a little bit different, you know, people, they like the traditional SAR timer, which we developed with these guys. They can go ahead with the black dial, and people, they want a little bit have a fresher blue, can go ahead with the blue one. And again, 4mm sapphire glass. I guess at this first time in 2002, we were the first brand which use a 4mm thickness sapphire glass. It's unbelievable. Because the reason why was, they told us when we go out and the ship is shaking, we destroyed our private watches on the railing on the wall. So we need a tough watch. Okay, understood, tough watch. For this reason, we have this thickness of the sapphire glass. So that means what I learned in this process was to hear to the people what they want to have. Not to go to the marketing department and say, create please a nice watch, and then we look for famous people or something like this. So no, we went to the people and we hear to the people, and then we designed together with them, because important is that they were.
Yes.
And they also were on time, this watch. So, and
this is where you connect the dots too, with like your instrument pass with this watch. And you talk about the 4mm crystal. One of my favorite features of this watch is how you have the Cyclops magnifier, but it's so thick of the crystal that you can actually hide it underneath.
Yes.
So there's no protrusion, which you talk about those same concerns about, you know, you're hitting your watch on the railings. Like that's another place that could really be susceptible to like chipping or anything of that sort.
There's also no sharp angles, because sometimes they have to pack or to pull in the people from the sea, you know, and they have a small door on the end on the boat. And this organization in Germany lives only from donations. So of course, when they rescue the people, it's fine. But when this people has a cut like here from the watch, you know, because you have to pack and, you know,
the rescue, they reaching their arm out,
So they said to us, we have to be careful about this. So for this reason, it's everything, it's more or less round, you know. And this is, I guess, the secret of this model, that you couldn't find this in another brand.
No.
It is really a unique design and is our Mühle design.
Yes, this is probably your icon, like your true
it's our icon, of course.
And you have multiple different versions. You have the black version, you have the full lume dial version, you had the titanium anniversary that you did a few years ago.
And then, timer,
Yes, and then you have this blue now, which
one is the new one.
It's fantastic. And you have the hooded lug design, 1,000 meters of water resistance. I love the crown position at 4 too. Very comfortable. There's really nothing else that wears like this. I handle thousands of watches a year, and this is one that's nothing else like.
No, this is really it is his own position in the watch world, you know.
Yes, absolutely. I absolutely adore this design. If you like this, there's nowhere else to go to get it.
So also when I do some shows here, and the people, they came and say, oh, I have to see it in nature, and let me try, and then they say, oh, this is really complete another watch, you know. And I said all the time, you know, when you wear this watch, believe me, people ask you on the table, excuse me, what do you wear? Because it's not a Rolex, not a Breitling, not a Omega. It is a really design where people look second time, say, let me know a little bit. And then you can tell a story.
Absolutely.
And this is the point, you know, what we do is emotions. Nobody need really a watch like this, but we sell emotions because people like emotions and people like the stories behind. Also, this was when I came from the show in Chicago that people say, you know, you are a family brand.
Absolutely.
I like this when you are family operated, and also in Germany we have the same. Germany is our home market and our biggest market. So people say, you know, your philosophy, how you stand in the company, how you handle it. Now both of my kids are in the company, so that means the sixth generation are responsible for the main business. You know, so I stepped a little bit back from the daily business because my door in the office every time is open, but nobody came in anymore because my kids and some other in my team, they do all the daily business.
They're taking the lead.
Yeah, so I have more time to cycle, but I will stay in the company. This was the joke. But yeah, I look for the strategy a little bit where we can find some new ways for us and also for the developing of new stuff to give the ideas which direction. So this, but I like this kind of business.
Yes. So next we have a couple other pieces. Do you want to start with the 29er?
The 29er, because also for us it's a new style to go ahead with the 29er with the small second, and we have two color combination. One is this and one is a dark blue dial with also a dark blue inside bezel. And 29er is for us really also an important line. 29er means it's a sailing boat class, which is also for the Olympic Games, and it's a little bit our nautical way,
yes,
you know. And it is really a classic sporty dress watch, you know. This typical German, less is more, form follow function, and it is full in our range because also this you have to understand because you asked me for our history before. So I forget my father, when he started, he said, you know, our rule is the first thing what you should see on a watch is time. You know, a lot of brands, which is a little bit difficult to read the time sometimes,
yes,
but for us, for this reason I mention also the way of the instruments, because a watch for us is also a timepiece instrument, you know. So, and for this reason we have the time at first.
Yeah, you could see some of your background in making display clocks on display with the watch that you're designing here. Even the small seconds, like it's a big small seconds, right? So I mean that's really easy to read. You have the red indication in the bottom here, as well as for the 60 seconds. So high contrast, easy to read. This is more of the nautical theme. So we've seen, you know, this style, which is more of a casual type of approach. You have the aviation style, and then you have more of this nautical theme, which is, of course, very important for your history as well. But they serve a very similar purpose. It just depends on what do you find yourself aligning to within your collection, and in terms of like what somebody's maybe propensity to like is.
Yep. So also for us, generally speaking, is we will not extend our collection so a lot, you know. So we work only in our lines, means Teutonia line, which is a dress line, which is very successful. 29er, we have the tool watches. We have a little bit this aviation, and Panova is one family because the case is more or less the same, you know. So, and the fourth line, which we introduced last year, so we can come to the next one, is our Sportivo. You know, I'm a little bit, we talked before, a little bit sporty, you know, I have to do to reduce my stress, but now I kind of do for to relax a little bit. We have two models here from our new collection, the GMT and with the compass bezel. So for us, it's also a new way to put also in the future, we will put all our design for a sporty watch in this line. Because so we focus us and people learn more and more the design on our sporty watches. All of them has a water resistant of 300 meter, means 30 ATM. We have a ceramic bezel, we have a really good illumination, And all our efforts are inside, what means woodpecker regulation, what we explained before, rotor, the decorations, and it's really a sporty watch. You can get it with a bracelet or with this special strap with rubber, and this is recycled plastic on the top here. So also a little bit to use all the things which we have in our water, and it should be not over there. So we can recycle this a little bit, and this is the part of this kind of strap. It's very colorful, of course. This is a little bit quieter.
One of my favorite aspects, when you first showed these to me earlier this year, you gave me a little teaser, the hands and how flat they sit to the dial. I love the design. Like, can you talk a little more about that process? And then even just the lume markers on this compass version, like there's really no perimeter surrounds on the lume. They just are these nice solid blocks right on there. But talk maybe more about the design process of these, because they do have a bit of a different look compared to what you've seen thus far.
This design process was intern, also this was in our company. We have a team of 4 people, you know, so we sit together and then we give the idea in which direction we should go. And my employee, she has a really good artwork, and she researched what is Mühle, you know, and all this, what she find out, she's more or less new in the company. For this reason, she has a clear view to the brand. You know, I work now 25 years in the company, so I have not really the clear view to everything. And she has a clear view, and she look around what is Mühle, you know, for what is our heart beating. So. And then we find out this sporty line should be in this diameter, 42 millimeter. We need a water resistant of 30 ATM. I love this case because you have not very often the case that you have between the horns material. Normally you have it open that you can go with the strap inside. So I like this more because it's more stable from the feeling, you know. So we have this special dial, what you have over there.
Yes.
It is really a nice process to do this. And also for the hands, we look for the sporty way to the readability. It's really strong, you know. And if you use, for example, a flashlight, you can really easily read also the index and also the luminized bezel.
Sometimes what I've noticed is, depending on an angle, and when you have a lot of hands in the stack, like you have 4 hands there, but you've been able to compress those down very low to be closer to the dial marking, so it's easier to actually read as a default, as a byproduct of that. And it also just looks cool because you have this very thin profile. There's not as much dimension to the hands, which adds more dimension to the dial, in my opinion. In my opinion, yes.
Yeah, also for us was to, especially for the GMT, to be clear, you know. So because sometimes you have not. I mentioned without glasses, I cannot read the figures anymore because I'm too old for this. But for this reason, it's really clear that you get at first the time as information, and as a second view you get the second information, like the GMT for this model. This is the idea behind, and I'm really proud of this process because it was for us really the first time that we go this way in-house completely to do a complete new line, you know. So, and the success and also the response from the market is great, so we are happy with this.
So I would just like to echo what we've been talking about throughout, just as a close here. I mean, what I love talking with you about is just, I'm able to speak to somebody who directly is a descendant of the lineage of this manufacturer, and I think that's very cool for me. I talk to all different brand leaders all across the industry, but it's always special when you can see more of the person behind the brand, and I think you exemplify that to an extreme degree. So thank you so much again.
Thank you for your time. It was a pleasure for me too, and see you next time in Glashütte or here in Cleveland again.
We'll switch it up. I'll go to Glashütte next time. Good
Thank you.
Again.
Thank you.